Hello, welcome back to We Seek Summits. I'm Jessie, this is Dominic, and we are going to be talking today about Spikenard, which might be one of Dominic's favorite.
For sure in aroma. Let's start by smelling this thing.
Yeah.
So,
Complex.
it is very complex, and it's sweet, it's earthy, it's a little
Has that little bit of musk.
musky.
Yeah.
It actually has, as odd as it sounds, like the little Pez candies, kind of that's the sweetness in Spikenard. It kind of
But
smells
it's not
like that.
sweet. It's a very complex oil, and it's one of the ones, I kind of forget about blending, what to blend, what oil should I do. Spikenard is one, like with Tulsi or with Galbanum, that I love diffusing it individually, like by itself. So we have it in our doTERRA Rome diffuser right here, going and inspiring us. Spikenard is a root. It is used a lot in ancient times. It was used in ancient Egypt. It was in perfume blends. It's mentioned frequently in the Bible. What you'll see usually is nard.
Nard oil.
Particularly in the Song of Solomon, it talks a lot about the woman with her lover, and they use nard
As a perfume.
oil
Yeah.
as a perfume. But talking about the complexity of smell, it is incredibly complex in its chemistry. And what we found out, which I hadn't even realized, is that it's not in any blends of doTERRA's. It is only the pure essential oil available. So you're going to want to get it. But tell us why.
Yeah, so these are, it's a rhizome, a root, and it only grows in high elevations. So the mountains of Nepal is where this, I guess it's kind of a grass, in a way.
Yeah, kind of a grass root.
Bushy thing. But anyways, so it grows wild, and there's, certain days or months of the year that is controlled, that these people go in and harvest the roots, and they dig them up, and they break off a portion and then replant it so it can keep growing.
Yeah.
And
So
that's
it's what we call wild cultivated.
And then they take that root, that spiky root, and steam distill it, like, kind of typical, and that's what makes the great Spikenard oil. Super complex. So when we talk about the aroma profile is very complex, but so is the chemistry. There's over 150 constituents to this oil, and pretty much all major functional groups are represented. It is dominated in terpene chemistry, so you have your sesquiterpenes and your monoterpenes, but then we also have ketones. Goodness, let me get my list here.
Aldehydes, esters.
Yeah, phenolic aldehydes, sesquiterpene alcohols. There's a lot, and some are unique to Spikenard. Like reading through the list, it's not like, oh, I recognize this from this oil or this from this oil. They're specific to Spikenard, which
he was
is
doing
wonderful.
A lot as he was looking at it, and I read that over 95% of the chemical constituents in there, there's less than 1% of them. So, but tell us about, we learned about a new one.
Yeah, so if you kind of look like, you're looking for the chemistry and, well, what's the major component that's going to bring me benefit in this blend, it's a compound called jadamasone. So it's a ketone, it's a sesquiterpene ketone, and I'm like, well, why is this being called out? If there's so many and such diverse chemistry here, why is this one called out? And I did some scholarly article research, and it's been studied a lot around neurological disorders, especially those that involve spasms or uncontrollable motions. So why? We know aromas have an impact on our brain. Well, this oil is super calming, super relaxing. It actually has like tranquilizing properties almost to it. So, and that's why it's been studied in that way. So that's a major use right there. And just as said, we're just diffusing the single oil to assist with like meditation practices or just being grounded, being in the moment, to help soothe feelings of agitation. Yeah. And also to support sleep. This is a great oil just for that.
Yeah. And as he mentioned, like meditation practices, it's used a lot. The root is used a lot in the Ayurvedic practices. As you mentioned, it's from Nepal. I have to say it has another one of those cool sourcing stories in that doTERRA went into Nepal to help the economy there after the earthquakes they've had many, but I think it was back in 2015 they started sourcing wintergreen from there, which is also grows up in the high mountains. It's completely wild harvested. Looking for how else they can support the Nepalese people, so they started wild cultivating the spikenard, which Dominic mentioned, but even still, so you look at it, it's a small bottle, and it's another one that's a little bit more expensive. I think it's $49.50 at the wholesale cost. And as always, message us or talk to us about how to get these oils at the wholesale cost. I mean, that's why we're doing this, right? Is to share it with you so that you guys can get them into your hands. But it has an incredibly narrow harvesting window. It grows wild, and the way that they harvest it. So what was I saying? Oh, so with that, you're talking about the nightly blends, and we're talking about meditation practices. So calming things. It in the blending notes. It's a personifier and a modifier, but it's also your base note. So it's very potent, I think, in the blend. Not as mild as like a cedar would, and definitely has a lot of distinct notes to it. So you would use it as a base note, but then you'd want to add something a little bit brighter, like a wild orange and frankincense. If you're not wild about the smell, we love it, but if you're not wild about the smell, you could balance it with some frankincense or some cedar wood.
Yeah.
It would also do...
Think spices, think flowers, think frankincense. Yeah. And speaking of frankincense, so you can use this oil topically. It's safe for neat application topically, and of course aromatically. This is not an oil for internal use. But it is a great substitute for frankincense for aromatic and topical applications. So, you know, we heard Dr. Hill with doTERRA say, when in doubt, get spikenard out. So it's a great little, you know, if you just kind of don't know what you need because of that wide spectrum of chemistry it's going to offer, you can use it for a multitude of things. So how about, just to round this out, how do we use this for emotional therapy?
Well, so I was just talking to a friend about being stuck in a place of anger and resentment, and just things are really hard, and I'm tired of them being hard, and we were talking this out, and so then I went and pulled out the emotions book. Spikenard is the oil of gratitude. First thing I did was I took a picture and go, oh, we need to get spikenard. It helps with all those things. It helps us to look at situations a little bit differently and try to appreciate, even if we can't see the big picture, try to appreciate that there is a big picture, that where you are today is not where you'll always be, that there is hope, there is more, there is balance. And if I'm having a really hard day, you know, he can speak into that. Then he might be having a really hard day, and so you're not alone. So spikenard will help a lot with that, of a little bit more of embracing. Even you don't have to be happy about your horrible circumstances, right? There's the scripture, praise God in all things, not for all things. We don't thank him for death, we don't thank him for cancer, but in all of that, we can be grateful. We can be grateful for the things that refine us and shape us and continue to define us as humans. So, spikenard.
Yep. So I think that's maybe its primary use is just aromatic diffusion.
And
awesome. But then I would say there's another awesome application for the skin.
Yes.
So how would you use this for the skin?
Well, so we know a lot of the oils that have really calming benefits also happen to be great for the skin. So I'm going to start slathering this on my face, and I will walk around grateful with a grateful heart.
Yeah.
But it is great in kind of some of those anti-inflammatory properties of the skin. So calming things in the skin, but also calming our mood down. There's some other things too. What were they?
So some of the other things, of course, just we love the scent. So perfumes, deodorants, you know, added to your DIY recipes.
He puts it in his pit juice.
I do. It's one of the ones I like in there.
And he created that blend, not knowing us. We learn a lot doing this for y'all. You know, we had no idea that spikenard was great for all these things. He picked it because it was a more manly scent.
It is, you know, and maybe doTERRA will come out with a spikenard lotion or something, but in the meantime, make your own.
Yeah.
And then I think the last application that I found is just if you topically apply it to the bottoms of the feet, one, it's going to help with sleep, but two, it will help your natural detox processes. So again, that wide spectrum chemistry, it can just do a lot of stuff. It's hard to get very specific with this one because it's kind of a generalist. It's a good one to have in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're feeling some of these emotions that we talked about, it's a great one to diffuse or to incorporate into some DIY recipes.
When I get I'll also get occasional like irritations of the eye, and I usually go to rose for that. Spikenard would be great for that. And I'm going to start putting this in our evening routine for our kiddos. We usually have something that we kind of roll on them. I'm going to add this to it, or putting it on the bottoms of the feet.
Yeah.
It's a great oil. I'm blown away. I truly am. So I hope you all appreciate, enjoy, ask any questions. If we've forgotten something, which is highly likely, put that in the comments. And we hope you all really enjoy Spikenard.
Definitely.
Okay.
Bye.